Hi, welcome back to Soulful Tales. If you've been here before, you already know we don't rush here. We sit with stories. We hold space for the things that were left unsaid. So if that's what you're looking for today, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us what part of this story found you. Now, let me tell you about a drawer. It sits in the back of a forgotten library, a place where the lights hum more than they shine, where dust drapes every shelf like memory. Behind the section marked letters and essays, there's a drawer with no lock, no label, just a quiet invitation. Inside are dozens, maybe hundreds of letters, none addressed, none mailed. Some scrawled on napkins, others on hotel notepads, one on the back of a grocery receipt, one tucked between the folds of a child's abandoned drawing. They're not part of any archive. They weren't meant to be found. But somehow, they were. Some people wrote to lovers they lost, some to parents they never forgave, others to versions of themselves that no longer existed. No replies, no names, just words released. Eli, the librarian, found the drawer by accident. He never told anyone. He just made room, left pens, envelopes, silence. This story isn't about solving anything. It's about witnessing. It's about what remains when love has nowhere left to go. Today, we'll open 6 of those letters. Not to answer them, but to let them breathe. So find somewhere quiet. Put your phone away. Let's begin. Dear son, you were never born on paper. There are no birth certificates, no ultrasound photos, no grainy black and white prints pinned to the fridge or posted in Facebook albums. There's only this memory. A faint flutter in my stomach that wasn't just physical. It was hope. It was fear. It was both. I found out about you in early spring. The kind of spring that still smells like winter. The kind where the trees don't quite trust the sun yet, and neither did I. I remember sitting on the edge of the bathtub, pregnancy test balanced on the counter, heart pounding loud enough to shake the tiles, and then 2 pink lines, like a whisper shouting, "You're not alone anymore." I wish I could say I celebrated. I wish I could say I cried tears of joy, but the truth is, I just sat. I sat there and stared at the wall like it would tell me what to do. Your father didn't know. I never told him. We weren't really we anymore. Just 2 people orbiting the same routine, hoping not to crash. I didn't tell my mother. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell anyone, except a stranger on a hotline whose name I never caught. For 2 weeks, you were mine alone. I walked differently, slofter. I drank more water, avoided coffee, read the backs of vitamin bottles in the grocery store. I whispered to you when no one was around. And then one morning, you were gone. It was subtle, the way storms sometimes are. Not dramatic, not loud, just wrong. My body knew before my mind caught up. I remember lying on the couch, hands on my stomach, as if I could will you back. The doctor called it a chemical pregnancy, a clinical phrase that made it sound like I had mixed the wrong ingredients, like you were an experiment that failed to boil. But you were more than that. You were real in the way that dreams are real before the alarm goes off. Afterward, no one brought casseroles. No one sent sympathy cards. There was no funeral, no flowers, no polite nods of understanding. Because how do you mourn a ghost that never had a name? Still, I think of you. When I see a child sleeping on their mother's chest, when I pass by a schoolyard at recess, when I feel the space in my life where you might have fit. Some days I count how old you would have been. 5, 6 now? Would you have liked dinosaurs? Or would you have been the quiet kind? The kind who stares out windows and draws galaxies in notebooks? I'll never know. That's the cruelest part, I think. Not the loss, but the never having. You weren't taken from me. You just didn't arrive. And yet, you changed me. You made me pause. You made me hope. You made me look at my body not with shame or disappointment, but with awe for what it tried to do. For what it almost did. I keep you in the quiet places now, in the mornings when I wake before the sun, in the evenings when I light a candle for no reason. And in this letter, my one way of saying you mattered. Even if the world never saw you, I did and I always will. Dear Lily, do you remember the night we stayed up talking until 3 a.m.? We were 15. The summer air was thick, and my ceiling fan clicked like a ticking clock no one wanted to hear. You lay on the floor in your faded hoodie, and I perched on the windowsill, barefoot and wide awake. You told me about your mother, how her silence stung more than words ever could. I told you about the time I found my dad crying in the garage, Engine oil streaked on his face like war paint. We shared secrets like fireflies, glowing only in the dark, fleeting but unforgettable. And then one day, you were gone. No explanation, no goodbye, just absence. I messaged you for months. Hey, you okay? Did I do something? No response. I told myself you lost your phone. Then that you were busy. Then that maybe somehow I had hurt you without realizing it. Years passed. I stopped reaching out, but I never really stopped looking. Every time I saw a girl in a bookstore with your posture, I did a double take. Every playlist with Florence and the Machine made my throat tighten. The thing is, Lily, I wasn't angry. I was confused. I was grieving someone still alive. Do you know how strange that is? I kept rehearsing conversations in my head. Imagined us meeting in a grocery store. You'd say, I'm sorry I disappeared, and I'd say, it's okay, I missed you. But that scene never came. Instead, I found your wedding photos online last year. You looked radiant, happy. I stared at your face for a long time, searching for the girl who once snuck out at midnight to watch shooting stars with me. She's still there, I think. And I'm still here. Not waiting, just remembering. You taught me that not all endings have explanations. Some people drift, some friendships fade without a crash or a scream, just silence. But if you ever wonder, yes, I still think about you, and I hope the world has been gentle. Dear Mom, I visited yesterday. You didn't know who I was. You smiled, like you do with strangers, polite and distant. And when I said, it's me, you just tilted your head as if my face was a puzzle missing too many pieces. It's strange, watching someone disappear while they're still sitting right in front of you. The nurses call it memory loss. Dementia. A word that tries to label 1,000 little vanishings. You don't remember the tea you used to make every morning, or the way you hummed while folding laundry. You don't remember my freckles, or the scar on my knee, or how I cried when my goldfish died. But I do. I remember everything you forgot. I remember the night you stayed up when I had a fever, placing cool cloths on my forehead and whispering stories about the moon. I remember how you held my hand at my first recital, how your knuckles were always dry in winter, and how you smelled like lavender and lemon dish soap. I remember how you danced in the kitchen when no one was watching. Now you sit in a chair by the window, gazing out as if the clouds are telling you secrets. You laugh at things that aren't there. You ask me the same question 5 times in 10 minutes, and I answer, every time, as if it's the first. Not out of duty, out of love. Because even if you don't know me, I still know you. You're the woman who shaped my voice, my fears, my kindness. You're the reason I still sing in the car, still write in cursive, still believe that storms pass eventually. I don't know if you'll ever remember me again, but I'll keep showing up, not for the version of you that once was, but for the one that remains. The one who still smiles, still laughs, still hums sometimes. That's enough. For now, that's enough. Dear Noah, do you still wear that leather watch? The one you said you'd keep forever? Even when it stops ticking, I'll wind it anyway, you used to say. That watch outlasted us. It's funny. We were engaged for 11 months. You proposed under the street lamp outside our old apartment, with your hands trembling more than mine. For a while, it felt like magic. Not the sparkly kind, the quiet, steady kind. You made pasta every Thursday. I alphabetized our spice rack. We argued about curtains and toothpaste and laundry. We made plans for a dog we never adopted. We made room for a future that never arrived. And then, we ended. Not with a bang, not with betrayal, just with a question neither of us could answer. Is this really it? The hardest part wasn't losing you. It was losing the version of me I was when I was with you. You saw things in me I hadn't learned to love yet. You called me bright when I felt dull. You told me I walked like I had somewhere worth arriving to. Sometimes, I still turn to tell you things. When a recipe goes wrong, when the moon looks too beautiful to ignore. But you're not there. You probably have someone new now. I hope she makes you laugh. I hope she loves your stupid puns. I hope she winds your watch. And if you ever think of me, I hope it's with softness, the kind we tried to build. The kind we almost held. We were almost forever. And for a while, that was enough. Dear Dad, you left on a Tuesday. No storm, no slammed doors, just an absence that echoed through the house like an unfinished sentence. I was 10. Mom said he just needs time. But time passed, and you didn't come back. I used to sit on the porch every Saturday morning, watching the street for your car. I memorized the sound of tires on gravel. Every neighbor was a maybe, every engine a possibility. But you never turned the corner. I told my classmates you were traveling for work, that you sent postcards, that you missed me. I lied. Not because I wanted to protect you, but because I wanted to protect the idea of you. The idea that dads stayed, that dads came to soccer games, that dads fixed broken toys and knew how to fold paper airplanes. The first time I heard your voice again, I was 23. You called. You said I made mistakes. You said I think about you every day. You said, "Can we talk?" And I froze. Not out of anger, but because I didn't know how to put a decade into a sentence. I said, "I don't know." You said, "Okay." And then the line went quiet. We haven't spoken since. I'm not writing this to blame you. I'm writing this because I still carry the shape of you, like a shadow that never learned how to fall away. I became a man without your blueprint. I learned to shave from YouTube. I learned to drive from Mom. I learned to love, clumsily, cautiously, from books and trial and error. But I did learn. And I'm okay now, really. If you're out there, I hope you are too. Dear me, you were doing your best. I know you don't believe that, not on the nights you stare at the ceiling, counting every regret like rosary beads. But I promise, you were trying. You held it together when the world didn't. You smiled for others, even when it felt like your ribs were splintering. You answered, "I'm fine," when you were anything but. And still, you kept going. I see you now, in every quiet victory. The morning you got out of bed when it felt like lifting a mountain. The day you returned a missed call just to prove to yourself you could. You thought you were weak, but survival is a kind of strength. You lost people. You let go of dreams. You buried versions of yourself no one even knew existed, but you're still here. You kept showing up to your own life, even when you weren't sure it was worth attending. So this letter, it's not for guilt, not for shame. It's for grace, for forgiving yourself, for beginning again, for holding your own hand through the wreckage. You don't owe the world perfection. You owe yourself compassion. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. Some letters never reach the people they were meant for. But maybe they reach someone else. Someone who needed them for reasons they won't even understand until years later. If even one line stayed with you, if even one letter opened something quiet in you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to Soulful Tales. Click the like button so the story finds someone else. And leave a comment telling us which part made you pause. Because stories like these weren't made to be consumed. They were made to be shared, to be felt, to remind us that even in silence, we are not alone. Thank you for listening. We'll see you again soon.